Um, as you can see, we've made a lot of changes this year, including bigger buttons, which will make it easier to actually do things here. You've got a menu down the left-hand side. This can all be modified. We haven't decided the exact changes that we're going to be making on there. And on here, you've got a history button, which will bring up things like the last quote you entered and the last customer. So all of these menus at the top, they can be modified as well. We will probably have different options for different customers. So if there's a residential customer, they will get one set of options, and if they're a commercial customer, they will get a completely different set. So we've got two ways to get into a quote. You've got the new project there, and then you've got the quick menu down the left-hand side. I'm going to use the ones at the top just for the moment. So I'm going to click on there. Now this will look very similar to how it did before. We've done things though, like on the finish, where if you click on there, it will no longer pick up anything that isn't applicable, like a silver component finish, which you used to be able to do. So I'm just going to leave everything as standard, and I'm just going to put a title in here on this version. If you click OK, that all looks very similar again. Now, if you find you're running out of room, depending on the size of your screen, you can also minimize this ribbon up the top, and you can minimize all this side button as well. So if I go into there, I'm just going to maximize that again. To add a frame, we've got this option here. Now, we can also split this down, as mentioned before, by going to the residential, same with the doors. Haven't decided the exact way this is going to look just yet. On the reports again, if you've got a quote open, these will bring up the report that's open, or the quote that's open there. So I'm just going to add a quick frame in there. So we're going to start with a window. Just do a standard eco window there and a standard style. So on top of this, instead of just having the little buttons that you had before, you've also got this vertical menu here. And you'll see here it also shows you the U value at any point. And as you build the frame, that will change. So I'm going to hit just on this build button. All of this will hopefully be familiar to you. And then to add a vent in there, we will click on there, and you'll see we've listed them down here, as well as all of the standard options that we tend to use here on the little buttons. I have left them up here in case you're used to them, so it will still zoom in and zoom out from there. You can change the dimensions and everything up here. But this is just a way that if you've got a new customer, it will make it easier to actually be able to see them. So I'm going to click on there, and I'm going to click on Sash, and I'm just going to add that in there. So all of that is pretty similar. I'm then going to go into here. You'll see I'm switching from here to here. They do exactly the same thing. It's whatever you get used to using will be how you use it from now on. So I'm going to click on there. I'm going to do a Command 9 frame and design my own again. And you'll see we've got this button here. So this menu will change depending on what system you're in. And as we go along, we will make it as simple as possible for each system and get a lot of feedback from our customers as always. I'm just going to click on there, and I'm just going to add a door. Okay. Then I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to add a curtain wall screen. And you'll see on this one, we've got a lot more options. So I'm just going to build a standard curtain wall screen. And I'm going to add a few vents into here. Okay, so now we've done that, we can now show you some of the new functions that we've got in there. So I'm just going to minimize this a little bit. Now down here, we've got this column and row wizard. So when we click on here, you see it's brought up this new menu. And we can go in here, we can change the dimensions. And hopefully it'll make it a lot easier to do this now in future. And if we click on there, you see we've now got these options up here, copy to left or copy to right. I'm just going to put a dimension in that one for a minute, and then I'm going to go copy to right. And you see we can do this a few times. Do it as many times as you want. And we can go and make changes to the dimensions there as well. If you put too many columns in here, you can go and highlight a column and you can delete it back out. And then you just click OK or apply, and then that will build the frame. And you can go back into that at any point and you can go, well, let's now go and change the dimensions. And click OK, and that will update it for you. Now, if I go back to the first screen, now you notice the error that just come up. Whilst I'm in here, I may as well show you this. So we've now got a win loading function as well in here. So you'll see it's failed that mullion on there, and it's told you exactly how it's failing it. And if you go down here, you'll see that all three of them are actually failing. So if I show the failures, you've got 1, 2, 3 mullions. So before I move on, I'll just show you how we can run that. So I'm going to view only the main sections there. And I can click on there and go and change the mullion here. And then what will happen is I'll just click out there and click back in. You'll see the error's now gone. And just to show you that that works, if I go and highlight the middle one, and I go and change that back to a smaller section, and just click back on there, you see when you go into here, it will then give you the failure of that 1 mullion. You just go and quickly fix that. And just turn all the layers back on. And then when you just click out here, you'll notice that the little error thing has disappeared. Now, I want to show you some of the new functions on here. So you'll see we've got a glazing bar here thing. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to click on this glass. And you've also got an option now. Instead of you having to use open resource for vents to put dummy mullions and transoms, you can just highlight it and you can go in here and you can split it. And you can also highlight these and go into here and you can change the dimension directly in there. Like so. You can obviously go back in there and change it like that. Now you can also do these screens here. Like so, and you can also highlight that and you can merge it. Or just merge part of it. So if I click OK, you see that's now built that. And if you do section throughs, it's now put the section there correctly. You can do the same on doors as well. So I would do this in light by light glazing. So I can highlight that, and I can go and split light, and I'm going to split it 3 by 3, and click OK. Now, if we want to then change the sections to make them smaller, we could actually highlight a few of the sections. So I'm going to highlight just these ones here, just to give you an idea. And you've got a substitute button in there. And so what we would do is we would go and find the section we want to switch it to. And click OK. Now it's going to tell you that it's a bit different. Do you want to override it? And you just click override, and you see it's now put the smaller sections in there. We can go and do the same with these if we wanted to. Okay, so if I now go and add a standard event back in here again, you'll see in a similar way we can go to the light by light glazing there, and this time instead of doing that, what we can do is we can add a grid. Now this is basically going to be a glazing bar, so it's not going to split the actual section. And you see I can click on there, and then on here I can do the same there. And if you click on there, you can then click Edit Grid. You can change how many horizontals you want there, and you can go and that would do that. Or if you go into here, you can go and tell it that you want a different pattern. So that is an example. Let's go in there and do that first. So you see you can choose a different panel here, and you can change it in there if you want to. And you can also change how you want the joints to be. I don't have that set up because we don't have a glazing bar at the moment, but I'm sure as soon as we do, then we will add that function in there. So if I click on there, you'll see it's now put that in there, and I've just drawn one in there just to give you an example. So it'll just give you this basically. Now we could probably work to put your own one in there and come up with that sort of function. So that's some of the standard ones that we've got in there as for the new version. You see this looks slightly different here. You've got the prices on there now. And if you go onto here, and again, we can copy and paste that directly out of here and put it into Excel if we want to. Now it's worth knowing that that format can actually be changed if you want it to. You see you've got that option there. Now, just to show you the reports before we go. So when we're in that quote, we can just click on the fabrication list or standard U value, and it will export that. Let me just show you that one. It will have to save the quote first, so it will take a little bit of time to generate it. So there you go, there's your standard one there. Okay, so on here you've got save items only, or you've got save all of it and it will save the bomb. So it's basically two close buttons. One will save it as a quick save and exit, and the other one will save it as a normal one. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and hopefully it will allow you to give some feedback on there, and just let me know if you want to have an online demo and we can show you